Israel says 2 of its soldiers were killed in fighting with Iran's terror proxy Hezbollah in Lebanon. Meantime, U.S. and Israeli forces hammered Iran's oil infrastructure in a new wave of overnight strikes. Iran continues to retaliate against its Middle East neighbors, leading to more civilian deaths as tensions with Tehran appear to be boiling over. Lucas Tomlinson is live in Dubai with the latest on all of that. Lucas.
John, the UAE has been the main target of Iran. This country has been on the receiving end of more of Iran's missiles and drones than any other throughout the Middle East, including Israel. And Iran's foreign minister also said those attacks will continue throughout the Persian Gulf and offered this explanation why.
No, we are not attacking our neighbors. We are attacking American bases, American, installations, American assets, which are unfortunately located in the soils of our neighbors. So we are not attacking our neighbors. We are attacking Americans who are attacking us. We are retaliating.
Now, last night, a drone was shot down near one of Dubai's famous skyscrapers in a very popular part of town, sending debris falling down and killing 2 Pakistani nationals in a car. The UAE military is knocking down 93% of all the projectiles fired here from Iran. This new Emirati gun sight video shows some of the more than 1,400 Iranian drones being blasted out of the sky over the Persian Gulf. Over 40% of Iran's drones have been launched at the UAE, twice the number launched at Israel. Overnight, Iran fired 17 more ballistic missiles and more than 100 drones. All were shot down except for 1 missile which splashed down harmlessly in the sea and 4 drones which slipped through. And South Korea says it's sending more surface-to-air missiles here to help this country keep its skies clear. And another drone slipped through in the Persian Gulf, John, this time in Kuwait, hitting this government building, spreading fire to multiple floors. The building housed Kuwait's Social Security Administrations. And since we've been on the ground here in Dubai, John, missile alerts come in about twice a day, unlike in Israel, which the alert is through an app and gives you a little more detailed information about where specifically the missile or drone is going. Here it is a general alarm on your mobile phone, much like the weather alarms back home. John.
So that attack on that Kuwaiti government building, Lucas, that would seem to put the lie to Iran's contention that it's only going after U.S. forces in those other neighboring countries.
That's right. It was a Social Security building, and it's been pretty dangerous in Kuwait. Of course, the first 6 casualties of the Iran war were U.S. National Guard soldiers from Iowa based at a tactical operations center in Kuwait on the port. Then, of course, you had the Kuwaiti fighter jet in that friendly fire incident, perhaps something more nefarious, shooting down those 3 U.S. Air Force F-15E Strike Eagles. Thank goodness it was miraculous in that case that all 6 on board those 3 jets punched out, all 3 pilots and the Wizzos, the backseaters.
Yep. All right, Lucas Tomlinson reporting live. Lucas, thank you. So Iran has been responding to Operation Epic Fury by striking at its neighbors, as Lucas was just telling us. It says that it is targeting U.S. installations, but as you would expect, tensions are on the rise across the region, and those neighbors are furious at what Iran has been attempting. Steve Harrigan is live in Armenia, just a couple of miles from its border with Iran, maybe less than that. Steve.
John, about a mile away from the border where I'm standing right now, and some real devastating scenes of destruction in the capital of Iran, Tehran. Over the weekend, U.S. and Israeli warplanes targeting not just military sites, but also infrastructure that supports Iran's military, in particular oil refineries. At least 4 hit in Tehran and on the outskirts of Tehran, really creating some devastating scenes. You have the huge orange flames going up into the sky, the black smoke, and then that oil and smoke mixing with a rainfall that created a black rain falling on that city of 17 million people. Iranians being warned to stay inside their homes, not just to avoid the bombing, but also to avoid now the pollution from that bombing. Those who have the money, the means, are often trying to get out of the city, get away by the thousands, often to quieter areas, like in northern Iran, where the war is largely untouched so far. Here's one scene we saw right along the border between Armenia and Iran. We can show you a scene here from northern Iran. We're right now standing in Armenia. Beneath us here is the Iraq's River. Once you get across that river, that's where Iran begins. You can see rural scenes there, some sheep, a controlled burn, and tremendous mountains in the background. This is the area where the border crossing between Armenia and Iran is still a working land crossing, so we could see it get very busy in the coming days if refugees or supplies need to get in or out of Iran in a hurry, especially if the ports or the air is completely shut down. This is the way in or out. So we could see some dramatic changes to a pretty calm rural scene here in the coming days ahead. That potential flood of refugees leaving Iran by foot has not materialized yet. Right now at that border crossing, there's a pack of taxi cabs from Armenia waiting to drive people north. Few takers at this point. John, back to you.
All right, Steve Harrigan in Armenia. Keep an eye on the situation there for us, Steve. Thank you. So with the war in its second week now, the U.S. and its allies have had their hands full with Iran's swarms of attack drones. Iran's Shahed 136 drones are easy to produce and relatively cheap at about $20,000 apiece. Stopping them is expensive, with America's Patriot and THAAD interceptors costing millions of dollars. Let's bring in Dr. Rebecca Grant, National Security and Military Analyst and Lexington Institute Vice President. I guess the good news here, Dr. Grant, is that there are fewer and fewer of those Shahed drones being launched from Iran.
Yes, the drone threat is dropping, and from a tactical perspective, Iran's drones cannot stop Operation Epic Fury. John, we have a very deep bench of counter-drone systems. It starts with our fighter jets from the forward up in the mid, all the way down the Gulf states, and then the pinpoint defenses. In addition to Patriot and THAAD, there's a whole long list because the U.S. technology has been knocking down these Iranian drones over Ukraine in the hands of Ukrainians for years. And I'm talking Coyote, Vampire, NASAMS, Frankensams, SlamRam, Mirops, just a partial list of the types of counter-drone systems that may have been pushed forward and are really taking a toll on Iran's launch rates.
But the Iranians have suggested they have help from the Russians, that the Russians are helping them perhaps target, find targets for these drones.
More than suggested, Iran's foreign minister has bragged about their military cooperation. But I'm telling you, Russia cannot save Iran with this information. A couple overhead satellites aren't going to do it. They may be trying to pass coordinates or tactical characteristics, but it's not working. Iran hardly has anything left to fire, and we are so able to suppress these drones, either kinetically by hitting them or with electromagnetic jamming, that the U.S. and our allied partners really have the upper hand, and Russia is not making an impact here on a military scale.
I know that the Israelis have been working on lasers that can bring down drones, and apparently they've had some success with that. That's a very cheap way of intercepting very cheap drones.
Yes, that's one thing. They've started to field that system. Of course, the U.S. has researched this as well. But the big thing is, just as you point out, we need more effectors, more interceptors. The Ukrainians have made some interceptors, too. But it is really the U.S. technology that ties together the detection, the surveillance, the tracking, and then the ability not just to hit individual drones, but to go after the drone swarms. And I think after this combat operation, we are going to hear a lot of amazing stories from the fighter jets, including the Brits, who shot down drones, including Carrier Air Wing 9 on the Ford, so many across the land bases, too, and then a lot of the use of these very innovative systems. And we're going to see that capability grow in U.S. forces. And the good news is the drone launches really are down. It's never going to go to zero. This is a combat zone, but the U.S. has the upper hand against these drones.
Caroline Leavitt, the White House spokeswoman, says that the neighboring states are angry at Iran, and with good reason. They've been launching those drones at their neighbors. Listen.
The mere fact that Iran is now pointing their capabilities at their Gulf partners in the region who have tried to remain neutral and at peace with them for many years, they're targeting civilians. It just underscores the point that this operation was necessary, not just to protect the American people and our assets and troops and bases in the region, but also to ensure a truly safe and prosperous Middle East for the rest of the world.
So, Iran, I don't know, I guess they thought they were going to bring in or, maybe start World War III or something as a result of attacking their neighbors, but it's really backfired on them, has it not?
Oh, yes. Iran's choice to go to war with their neighbor across the strait, the UAE, to send that many drone attacks and missile attacks, it's unbelievable. And they've attacked on an arc, really, all the way from Azerbaijan right down through Oman, of course, all the Gulf states as well. It's an incredibly bad decision, and I think it's really hardened the resolve in the region and in the world to absolutely wipe out Iran's military capability. And that military metric, that is the measure of success for Operation Epic Fury, and they're doing a good job so far.
The U.S. CENTCOM is issuing a warning to Iranian citizens. Here's how it reads. It says the Iranian regime is using heavily populated civilian areas to conduct military operations, including launching those one-way attack drones and ballistic missiles. This dangerous decision risks the lives of all civilians in Iran, since locations used for military purpose lose protected status and could become legitimate military targets under international law. They're taking a page for what Hamas and Hezbollah have been doing, hiding military assets in civilian areas.
Yes, and I'm glad Admiral Cooper has put that out. That means if there is a drone launch around Isfahan or one of Iran's big cities, and it pops up as a dynamic target to U.S. aircraft or shooters that are in the area, but Iran has chosen to put it near their own civilians. But as we know, John, Iran does not care about killing their own civilians, and they're willing to risk their civilian lives again to continue these drone attacks. And the drones are scary. They've caused casualties. They've caused damage, but they are small warheads. They are not militarily effective from a tactical perspective, and Iran is not going to stop Operation Epic Fury with these drones.
Dr. Rebecca Grant, thanks for your expertise.
Thank you.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube, and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.